5 Oscars, including Best Picture. And you know him from his movies, There's Something About Mary and Dumb and Dumber. He can make us laugh, you know that. But he can also warm our hearts and make us cry as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the director nominated for Best Original Screenplay and Best Picture, Peter Farrelly. We understand why this is called Green Book, obviously, but was there ever any kind of, you shouldn't call it that. It should be Two Guys on the Road or something like that.
Almost exactly that title.
Yeah. What was it?
It was
For the road.
originally,
One of the suggestions.
the original title was, and this was named, Nick Vallelonga named it, Letters to Dolores. And I said, well, Nick, I'd like, guys to see the movie too. You'd have to put a gun in my head to see Letters to Dolores. Oh no, I'm sorry, Love Letters.
Oh.
Love Letters to Dolores. I was like, it sounds soft. I remember one of the great movies of my life that I almost didn't see is Philomena. And it was, we had the screeners and my wife, we went through all of them and there's Philomena there. I'm like, really? That didn't seem right. Finally, we saw it, my favorite movie of the year, it's a masterpiece. And so the title can, keep you away from a movie. Another way, Captain Fantastic. I almost didn't see Captain Fantastic because I thought it was a superhero movie, which it's not. It's Viggo Mortensen's previous movie where he's up in the mountains teaching his kids. But I'm not a superhero guy, so I didn't want. And finally, I saw it. And anyway. So I talked him out of Letters to Dolores, and along the way we had a couple working titles, and then we discovered the Green Book as we were writing it. Like, I had never heard of the Green Book, and in the audio tapes that Tony Lip had, he would always talk. We listened to him over and over, and they were a couple hours long. And he would say, and then the record company gave us the book where black people could stay, and we used that. And I said, what the hell is he saying? This is like the 5th time I listened to it. I said, what, the book where the black people could stay? So we Googled it, and we found out about the Negro Motorist Green Book. And it was something I had never heard of, and I couldn't find a white person who had heard of it, and I'd say 80% of my black friends had not heard of it. But so when we found this out, it became part of the story because they had given them this. It just seemed natural to us to call it Green Book, but then of course the idea was raised, is that some sort of a cultural appropriation? White guys making this thing with that title. So we went to Mahershala and we went to Octavian. I said, if you think there's like 1,000% chance that this could be perceived that way, let's not do it. Because I don't need that. I don't want to get into that world. And they said, no. In fact, you got to do it because this is teaching people about that Green Book and nobody knows about it. Right now, the Green Book it's in the zeitgeist, and every time you pick up a newspaper, they're talking about it like we all knew it, but nobody knew this 2 years ago. It's a new thing that's out there because of this, and Mahershala and Octavia said, forget that fear. You must get that Green Book out there. It's very important, and it represents what this movie's about, so we went with it.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Called Get Someone, like, what's going on? They said, well, the foreign guys feel like you can't, this isn't going to play overseas. I said, why? They said, well, it's, race movies don't do that well overseas. I said, well, this is a buddy movie, though, and it's much more than that. And to their credit, they said, they said it, then they're not doing it, and they gave it right back and turned around. And then we went out, got Viggo and Mahershala, had them attached, and still didn't have a studio and couldn't get one. We were sitting around town, and people were like, well, if you can make it for, 2.1 million, I'll do it. I was like, no, it's a period piece, And we did make it for a decent price, 23 million. It wasn't like crazy, but I knew I couldn't do it for 2, 4, 5, 6 million. Finally, participants stepped in. Thank God, Jonathan King, David Lindy, and Robert Kessel. And they were like, yeah, we love this, and we'll give you 20, and we, come on. And so we haggled our way up to 23. Because I knew, it was going to be a little tricky with the period.
And then I heard something, this real insider, probably I'm out of bounds here, that Mr. Spielberg made a difference here.
Oh yeah, and then what happened was, okay, this is interesting. So we're at participant, and we're happy, and they're great, and they've let us go and do our thing. And then I asked participants, I said, so by the way, who's going to release this movie? And they said, Focus. I said, Focus. Focus gave it to us in turnaround. They said, well, our deal's with Focus. And now I'm like, well, Focus, I know Focus doesn't love it, or they don't believe in it at least. They can't think they can sell it overseas. And so, and by the way, this has nothing to do with thin skin. I get the thickest skin in town. I get nobody, if you don't have thick skin in this town, eventually you have nobody to turn to. You gotta get over stuff. And I do. I forgive right away. Okay, whatever. It's not about that. But it was about, they didn't get it, and I was concerned about that. So I called my agent at CAA, Richard Lovett, who's the greatest agent on the planet, by the way. I've been with him my entire career. And I said, I knew he represents Spielberg. I said, any chance you get this to Spielberg, I think he's going to flip if he sees this. I mean, that's Universal, which is part of that whole thing, and DreamWorks. I knew they were all connected. So he did, and Spielberg watched it by himself one morning at like 8 in the morning, and called me about 10 in the morning, and flipped. He just loved the movie. He said it was his favorite buddy movie since Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Wow.
He was
Wow.
gushing about it for about a half an hour, and the best thing that he said, which I couldn't believe, and he said, I couldn't believe how good Mahershala was on piano. And I said, well, he wasn't on piano. remember the fake shark? I didn't actually say that part. I was thinking it, like, how can you think he did that? But I was so pleased because he's a genius and he didn't see it. That made me very happy. And by the way, it wasn't like arm replacement, it was face replacement there. It was just the face, which made it a lot easier because everybody's looking for the fingers. Like, are those arms looking right?
By the way, and he also, it was a DCP, so you have to have a code to every screening. He called 5 times. He watched it 5 times over the period of like 2 weeks. He kept calling back for another code so he could watch it again.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
that was
what
really
he did
cool.
was he took it to he took it over to DreamWorks and Big Universal. And then again the troubles don't end there because then now Big Universal they're like they have their own movies. They're not expecting this, and suddenly Steven Spielberg said, I want to bring this over there because he has a put, meaning he could bring any movie, a putter. He could put any movie in there, they can't argue. And he puts it in, and now they're like, okay, and now we had to get them on board. They're taking it, but they don't love it because they don't really know it, for one thing, and they already have their babies. They got all these movies they've been working with for a year and a half, and they're all excited about. So they almost didn't put us in Toronto Film Festival. Because they had all their other stuff, and I think we were the last movie to get into the Toronto Film Festival, and we almost weren't in it, and then we won it. So that was the turning point where they thought, oh, okay, this is a good movie.
And they put it they put it in Thanksgiving, where they had something else there. They had something else there.
Yes,
They
they
put
did.
you guys in. Which
Yeah. No, they eventually they jumped on in a big way, but at first it was sort of like, who are these guys,
Just the color timing of the look of it. So even from the start, it was like it looked great, even in the Avid, and it was just about not messing it up.
But he also was clear. It's a really good question because again, whenever you make a movie, to this day, I still learn stuff on movies. Like I would never know how to do that piano thing if I hadn't done it. I'm like, how do you do this? And we learn it. But those palettes, Sean was like adamant. He goes, we're only going with the palettes that were available in '62. We don't, because there's a lot more colors now. So we were doing a lot of yellows, oranges, and greens. And there's many more things you could go to. He goes, I'm not doing that. I want it to look like a color movie from '62, and it does. It's monochromatic, and it's less color than most movies. But that's why we put that blue Cadillac in. That was his. He said, is there any way to get it like a bright colored Cadillac? Because there's not color in this. It's going to look like
but it looks gorgeous. It really looks the era, and yet it's bright.
Yeah. I'm a 28-year-old guy, and I was watching him online, and he's just off the charts good. And so I called him up and I explained what we were doing. I asked if he could play the piano because we couldn't. It would have been too hard to just have somebody like match the recordings that Don Shirley had done. The fingering against the music. We just had to do it again, but he did it exactly like Don Shirley. But anyway, he said, so let me get this straight. You want me to be like the fake piano guy? I said, absolutely. He said, no, I have a career. I don't want to do that. He goes, I got a life. I'm going around the country doing tours. I said, okay. What if you are also our composer? He said, I'm in. And so, and by the way, I just took a shot in the dark. I had no idea if he could compose, which he could. And it was unbelievably great. But I had a feeling he could from the way he played the piano. And yeah, then he came in and he said, so he listened to music, so where's all the music? I don't know, he figured that out. There's no, Don Shirley was just winging it. He was doing his own stuff. There was no sheet music. And he had to, do every song. And it took a long time. It was hard for him. He's like 30 something. He's a young guy, and you have to, listen, you have to open your mind and your heart. You can't let ego control things. I don't know what that costume woman knows. You see the costumes Mahershala wore on this thing? Okay, if I picked him, he'd be like this every day. It would be, I can't pick that. I don't know that. So I hired Betsy Hyman, that's her thing. And she brings in all these things with Mahershala, and they just try them all on, and I basically say, what do you like? What do you guys like? And I'm like, you like it? Let's go with that. I don't pretend to know everything. I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. And but you have to let your crew do their job, and that's what I've always done. Luckily, since we started out knowing nothing.
Even with like the music and stuff too, we had a couple of great music supervisors, Tom and Manish, and we didn't have a lot of money for music. I mean, but we wanted like 60s cues. And right at the beginning of the movie, he gave me this huge bin of like 160 songs that he could get for a price that were inexpensive. So I could start populating the movie with these songs. And literally about 80% of what I placed is up there.
Wow.
So right from the start, we had this stuff. And then we started, you have people, friends send you music, and we sneak stuff in. Then the most expensive one was the Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. That was,
Yeah, it was Frank, but we were trying to avoid. We also didn't want, I got my thrill on Blueberry Hill, all the ones you heard in Happy Days. We wanted songs from that era that you weren't familiar with that would give it a kind of a more authentic feel.
That's fantastic.